What is up, y'all? I recently got another Quad Cortex, and it's been a year or two since I've actually used one of these things, and I'm diving right back into making presets again, so I figured why not make a really quick video about how you can make a sick metal tone in the Quad Cortex in roughly 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Alright, so for reference here, I am going to have Cortex Control open up on my desktop here, and I'll be screen capturing that as well so you can see how Cortex Control works. That is how I prefer to work with it when it's sitting here on my desk, but I am filming the Quad Cortex with my phone here as well so you can see what's happening on the screen of the Quad Cortex itself. Because I know not everybody uses the desktop Cortex Control. I am going to be controlling it via Cortex Control though. If you'd like to see a video based more on how to use the Quad Cortex itself via the on-screen controls and buttons and everything built into the device itself, let me know down in the comments because I will do that as well because, you know, people that play live have to do that anyway. So, and I am thinking about doing a more in-depth video about how to use the Quad Cortex in general, so please let me know if that's something that interests you. I can do just a deep dive on how I use the unit in its entirety, and I think that might be helpful to a lot of you, but let me know. If it's not helpful, then I won't make the video, but I do think it'll be helpful, so I'll probably do it anyways. But anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and jump in here. So we're looking at a preset that I already made, and it's using one of the plugins, but what we're going to do is we're going to click on the ellipsis up here in the top, and we're going to actually just create a brand new preset. So we're going to start from scratch. And you notice that both on the Quad Cortex and in Cortex Control, we now have a blank slate, right? So essentially we have these 4 different rows. We're going to stick to just row 1. We're going to make you a very, very simple metal preset. Now, before we get started, I am going to change my multi-out to something a little bit different on here because I want y'all to be able to hear it. So I'm changing it to USB 3.4, and that's because I have everything routed through OBS to pick that up properly so that you can all hear the guitar tone and everything from it. You do not need to change that, so don't change that part, okay? And if that's an interesting thing for y'all, let me know that as well, because I can do a whole video on how to route the Quad Cortex as your main device through OBS and your DAW to make sure that you're getting the sound coming out through that if you want to live stream, for instance, or if you want your computer to record your videos for you. So now that we've got it set to USB 3.4, and remember, don't change that, just leave it as multi-out for now. We're going to go ahead and add an amp. And for the amp, I think we're going to do like a PV6505 kind of tone. That's usually what I like to use. So we'll go for the PV6505 lead. We'll drop that in there. Now, this is going to sound kind of bad because we don't have a cab. So obviously no cabinet yet, so it doesn't sound great, right? So what we want to do is add a cabinet. So we want to go ahead and click on cab over here, and then I like to use the Zilla cab. But you know what, let's just go with the 212 Recto with vintage 30s. That's a very classic combination for a PV6505. So this is what we've got now. So at its most basic, you now have a metal tone, but we're not going to stop there. You know, we're not going to stop there. What we need now, since you hear it, is we've got some hiss happening. So over here on input 1, we can actually click on that and we can turn on the input gate. And I crank that up because I've got a lot of LEDs around me, so I crank it up to about 60. And so now you'll hear. So it sounds pretty good. It's clamping down on that extra noise, not having any issues there. Now in true metal tone fashion, we need to tighten up that signal and give it some more aggression. And I'm going to do that before I even bother adjusting the amp itself. So let's go ahead and scroll over to overdrives. And for this type of amp, I almost always go for, you know, your traditional green overdrive, so a tube screamer style overdrive. And for this, we're going to choose the green 808. And so if we open up the green 808, let's go with some traditional metal settings. So bring down the overdrive, crank up the tone, crank up the level, maybe not all the way. My pickups are kind of hot, so. Okay, so it can use a little bit more tone. Let's see how that sounds. Literally 3 steps and we have a ridiculously sick guitar tone as it is. So that's something I'm always stoked on, but maybe we want to take it a little bit further. We can go into the amp and we can adjust stuff if we want to, which I kind of tend to. I would crank the mids a little bit here, crank the treble a little bit as well. The master output's already set down at 3, so that's actually perfect. You can bring down the gain if you want. I like the gain where it is now. What I want to do is I actually want to add an EQ block. And so if we go over to EQ and let's do the parametric 8. So with the parametric 8, what I would do is I would click on the 8th one over here, right? And we're going to turn it on, and that is a low pass filter. So we're cutting the frequencies above 10K. I'm going to raise that to like 11K because I just don't need it to be that extreme. And then we'll go over to 1 over here, which is set to a low shelf, but we're going to actually set that to a high pass filter, and we're gonna bring that up to about 75 hertz. And this is gonna be very subtle unless you're wearing headphones. So let's take a listen to this now. All right, very, very simple. Now, what I then like to do is go to number 7 here, and I actually turn this into a high shelf. This is something I always do with a PV style amp. So we'll take that high shelf, it's at 7,000 hertz, and let's just bump it. Let's give it like 3 dB a gain. I think we can actually come a little bit lower. I think I like that more around 6,000 hertz. Not everybody likes as bright of a signal as I do, but let me know what you think, which one sounds better there. So there you have it. We took roughly 5 minutes or so. Obviously, I cut this video down because I talk a lot, and that's one of the pieces of feedback I get from people is I talk too much. I don't care. I like talking to y'all. But yeah, roughly 5 minutes to a ridiculous metal tone using all stock stuff inside of the Quad Cortex. I didn't use their plugins. I didn't use any third-party captures. I literally used 4 modules that are built into the Quad Cortex stock and built a tone that I would be more than happy to use live or on an album. It sounds great. It cuts. It's inspiring to play through. And if we're being real, that's actually what's most important. It doesn't have a ton of high-end hiss because we cut out that high-end. We cut out the low lows as well. So if you were playing this through an actual speaker system, or if you're putting it in a mix, it would sound great. Now keep in mind, if you follow my instructions to the T on here, you still might not have the same exact tone as I do because you don't have this guitar with these pickups and these strings on it, so on and so forth, and you probably play different than I do. You probably play better if we're being real. But what that means is you need to take this and you need to dial it in and tweak it a little bit. I am including this preset in my Cortex Cloud for free. I don't charge for that kind of stuff. And my username on the Cortex Cloud is Ryan is Heartless, just like it is everywhere else. And you can go in there and you can download this exact preset, but please, for the love of God, don't act like a preset is going to be perfect from the get-go. That's everybody's biggest problem, is they think that presets are the answer to everything, and they're not. They are a starting point for you to then tweak it based on your signal, your pickups, your guitar, your playing style, so on and so forth. So please, take this preset and run with it, make it your own. This is a very, very simple one. If you'd like to see me make some more of these, maybe some more complex signal chains inside of here, let me know, because I'm having way, way, way too much fun, especially with the plugins on here. Having the plugins is actually pretty clutch. So yeah, let me know. I hope you all like this. If you do, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, help your boy out. If you would like to learn how to make all of this kind of stuff though, let me know, because I do give one-on-one lessons as far as how to film yourself, how to record yourself, how to mix and master your own music, how to get all of this running through OBS and everything. I can give you a one-on-one lesson, get you going in no time so you can start creating this kind of content yourself as well. But that's it. I'll get off that horse here. Until next time, peace and love, and I'll talk to you all in the next one.